What is up? Thank you for coming to my channel, Prison POV. Shout out to joiners, shout out to Point of View crew, and trip on this. Yes, I do have somewhat of a, a throat issue, but nevertheless, this is me pushing forward, doing the damn thing. I told you I was going to hit it hard, post every day. Now, you may get the video later in the day because I tend to like to do my work later in the day. But homeboy, this is it. And the only thing I'm asking, hit me up with the like button. Porfas. Goes a long way. Dude, this is 3 rules in prison I go out of my way to not break. Never. I would never want to break these 3 rules in prison. My last video, it was 3 things I didn't care about in prison. I went to prison, I don't care about these things. This video is 3 things I go in there and yeah, I care about these 3 things. The first one, this rule really depends on your focus. And you're really going to have to hear to participate so that you don't break this rule. And I have bad hearing. Had for a long time. Ever since I was a kid, I did a lot of swimming. I used to have earaches. I had surgery where they put tubes in my ears. Supposedly they're going to come out. I used to, for several years, looked in my pillow for these tubes. Never did find them. Hope they're not still in there. I remember going into that surgery as a kid, and they put the gas mask on me and knocked me out. And the nurse had all these flavors. So you could put like a flavor on there. Like, what flavor do you want? I said, bubblegum. And the whole time was a nightmare because I had a nightmare of this big bubblegum flavored, shaped, smelled like mouth was just chasing me. So I was out, getting my ears worked on, having a nightmare. That was extra, bro. That was just a little extra tip right there. Homeboy, I historically have bad hearing. That's why one of my very first fights that I got into in a mainline prison, it was late at night. We're in the TV room, and we're smoking a cigarette, and we're trying to be quiet because the light's off. You're not supposed to be smoking in the day room. We're being kind of quiet, and people were talking. I was like, huh? I said, huh? What do you say, huh? A couple times, I can't hear that good. And this dude fired off with, he's like, hey, giving head makes you go deaf. And I was like, huh? And everyone started laughing. He laughed. And I was like, huh, what happened? What? Huh? What'd you say? What did you say? Huh? What? And they're like, tell him what you said. He's like, no. Like, what, huh? He's like, oh, I just said giving head makes you go deaf. Bro, I took off on him, homeboy. Of course I did. But take off first. I was mad about it. I walked right into it. Giving head makes you go deaf. Huh? So I've always had some poor hearing, homeboy. And that's why when I go into prison and I have this rule in front of me where I have to participate in the roll call, I'm stressed out. I'm stressed out about the roll call in prison. The roll call is when you go into the hole and add seg. Since the inmates, I guess the cops do too, we don't really care about all that, but the inmates close it at night. The tier is only open during the day to fish on. We can never really talk on the tier. You can maybe, you could play chess, 19 to 24, which I hate, but you can't be like, hey, Bob, what are you going to do tomorrow? But you can say, hey, shoot your line. There's activity on the tier during the day. At night, they shut it down with the roll call. They open it up with a roll call. And if you miss the roll call because you're sleeping and you don't hear it, which is a possibility, now I mean the punishment for missing it, it varies. It could go from anywhere to a slight checking to it's more embarrassing than anything. And the thing about it is, when the roll call happens, the Southsiders go first. That's where you get the Spence and the Tita. They start off with Spence and the Tita. And you would think that would wake you up, because then they have all the Southsiders are talking. They're talking to this dude, this cell. They're talking back and forth. When they're done, it's a wood pile, and the wood say, excuse me, on the tier. By that time, you should be woke up from the Southsiders, you'd think. But I've been sleeping and just incorporated the whole Southside roll call into my dream. I'm playing guitar in a dream once in my room, and the window opens up, and the Southsider sticks his head in, and he's all, Spence on the Tita! And I was like, what? See my voice. I was like, what? Get out of here, what are you talking about? And then all of a sudden it's like, spooky! And some dude came out of my closet. See, buenas noches, and all these people start in my room, and it was a dream. Homie, they incorporated their self into my dream, because that's what happens sometimes, isn't it? So I'm always fearful of missing the roll call, because I can't hear it. When I went to New Delano, and I went in, there was only 2 white boys in there with me. then they're going to be in charge of the roll call. And they're all the way down at that end of the tier, and I'm all the way at this end of the tier. And I was so worried when I went in there because I couldn't even hear him as it was, much less hear him enough to wake me up. And there wasn't that many Southsiders in there. And the Southsider that was doing their roll call actually slept next to me, in the cell next to me. He was going to start off in the morning. He was going to kick it off by saying, "Spence on the Tita," bright and early. And you'd think that'd be some comfort to me, but this dude was real quiet. Real quiet. We'd be talking in the vent, and I found myself over and over like, "Huh? What? Oh, okay." And then he'd repeat himself, and I still wouldn't hear it. But instead of saying, "Huh? Well, yeah," I go, "Oh, okay, oh, yeah, okay." Because I have like a 2 limit. If you say something, I go, "Huh?" And you say it again, I might be like, "What?" And if I still don't get it, I'll just, "Oh, okay, huh, yeah." Because, bro, I need to get one of those little micro, like, hearing aids. So, homeboy, one rule that I would never want to break, one rule I've never want to transgress is the roll call inside a CDC. Now, I'll add real quick that the roll call is why the Bulldogs and the Woods have been at war for years. The Woodpile, white boys put a green light on the Bulldogs years ago because of D6, the hole, it was for reception. The Woods would be doing the roll call, Southsiders too, and the Bulldogs would bark, flush the toilet, and disrespect the roll call. That's why a kite went out to all the buildings saying green light on the Bulldogs. You Woods, you white boys, don't be programming their buildings. If you go in there, if you action at them, take off, it's on site. And it all started in D6, homeboy, behind the roll call. Now another rule I would never ever want to break in prison is, now trip on this, the racial divide. The racial divide is so real in there. Trip out on this. When you're Wood and it comes to a black dude in there, you can't eat after him, drink after him, smoke after him, smoke a cigarette that they rolled because they licked it. You can't hang out with them, walk a lap with them, work out, talk to them, nothing. Total racial divide, whether you like it or not. Doesn't even matter if some dude comes into county jail and he's your neighbor. You know him from the streets. You work with them. You got to keep your distance. That's one rule I've never wanted to break because, dude, the punishment for that is very, very severe. Now, I've seen this one dude, and I think this is wrong, these 2 black dudes. Now, people had issue of me saying before when I talk about that race, and let's say the blacks. People get mad. "Oh, why do you call them that?" That's what they're called. Woods, Southsiders, blacks, North Angels, Pisces. I didn't make it up. These 2 blacks are playing baseball. And one of them misses the ball. And so Wood goes over and picks it up and then throws it to him. They followed him back to his dorm and just smashed him. Just knocked him out, stomped him on the ground, and just opened up a can of whip bass on him. And now a lot of Woods were mad about that because the dude that did it was weak and small. And they figure like if a big old tough dude would have done that, you probably wouldn't have done that to him. You just wanted to victimize somebody. But homeboy, the racial divide. I remember the homeboy Buzzard. We had to get on several times mainline prison because he would get cigarettes from this black dude. And the black dude would sell them already rolled. And you can't get a cigarette if you licked it. But Buzzard didn't care, and we'd have spies on. We'd be watching. We'd see he'd go get the cigarette. He'd come back and light it up, and we'd bust up on him. "Buzzard, you're supposed to rip it apart and re-roll it." He's like, "No." He rolled it with a glue stick. He used a glue stick, and we didn't. Still, break it apart. And bro, he had to get 2 on 1 a couple times. He had a hard head this freaking thick. He couldn't get it through. He didn't want to take the time to re-roll it, and it got him caught up a couple times. Why? Because the racial divide, it's real, my friend. Now, bro, when I first come into prison, I come in like all my bones have been broken, put in different position, just like healed like that. I come in, I'm not as solid as I am, say, like right before I get out. I am solid, but dude, you're kicking like Bruce Lee. You're out of your damn mind. You're not sleeping. You're fighting these charges. You're fresh in there. Dude, you're liable to do it like any old thing. For instance, I went in kicking like Bruce Lee. I'm in county jail. I start buying these pills off my black neighbor. Don't care. Is it against the rules? Of course it is. I don't really care. It was $1 a pill. I didn't even know what pill it was. But I had more candy bars than I did pills. He'd beat on my door, boom, boom, boom. I'd look up, he'd show me a pill, I'd say, shoot it. He'd throw it under the door, I'd throw him a candy bar. I'd eat it, put it in my mouth, and I'd sit there. Come by later, shoot another pill. Whatever pills he bought, I'd buy any old pill, and I would just take it because I was withdrawing and kicking, and I was looking for some kind of comfort. They're probably psych meds. They never did help. but I bought them. It was against the rules. I didn't care. So I just came in, dude. You just come in all. But then, Wasco Reception A yard. I got through county jail. I kicked the heroin, the opiates. I start working out. I'm on deck. I'm tapping out with the homeboys. Now I make it to Wasco Reception. I make it to D yard. I'm in the sales. Tapped in with the homeboys. I'm on roll call. See, there's different kind of roll call now. Not the one I just spoke of. This one is a whole different thing. On roll call, programming, working out with the business. Then I go to A yard. Got me a celly, programming, tapped in with the homeboys, with the business, on deck. And then I see that black dude from a distance. I hadn't seen him since I was in county jail, and now I'm... And he's like, hey, what's up, Splinter? Yeah, you a crazy ass fool, man. Damn, you'll take any old pill. And when I saw him, I was like, across the yard, dude. Zoom! There was smoke. Went running over to him. Didn't care. Wasn't supposed to be doing that. Of course, I caught some eyeballs from the cops and the inmates. Didn't matter. Went right over to him. Hey, what's up, homeboy? Nice to see you. I haven't seen you since county. Dude, don't be talking about that. Don't be talking about our business. You're going to get me caught up. Oh, yeah. It's all good. It's all good. I was like, bro. Can you imagine? In the next day, as luck would have it, the next day as they transitioned through buildings, they called this one this tier, and how it worked out, I ended up sitting at a breakfast table with him. 3 Woods and him. And I was just singing the whole time like, shoo. So glad I went and said something to him yesterday. And now I'm thinking to myself, though, was it enough? Whatever I said to him. I was the whole time eating and was like, I don't want him to say, man, you crazy white boy. Shoot, remember I gave you those pills? Not supposed to be buying pills off black dudes. Homeboy. I'll tell you, no. He didn't say nothing. The racial divide is real. You don't want to be getting caught up. But bro, check this out, dog. There's this dude, he rapped. Real good. This dude can rap. Not only can he rap real good, but he was able to use his comb and he'd make a beat and use his hands and he'd have a cool beat going and it sounded dope and it had some rhythm to it. And he'd have his crew around him. There'd be 5 or 6, 7 black dudes right there. He'd be rapping. Everyone be listening. Even people who weren't listening were ear hustling. There'd be old men on their bunks, like two bunks away, reading a book, all like. I would work out somewhat close to him. I'd be over here getting my money. They're over right here rapping. I'm over here working out. I'm getting some kind of music. It's the closest thing I got to music. And then I got a vibe, and I just started in with the. And someone sounds like Splinter. I was like, what are you doing, homeboy? Nothing, dog. 200. Wow, what's up? Were you dancing to that guy rapping over there? He's like, no, bro. That's my son. You know what I mean? With some style, bro. Never that. But dude, I think I even did it again. Yes, I danced. How about my cousin, Scrap Diego? Shout out to Scrappy. He hasn't done a lot of jail time. Hardly none. Never been in the pen. He went to county jail. Ever since we were kids, that's how I know Funk One. They were best friends. They were rapping like in 5th grade. They had this group called the Chili Most Crew. And then they did this thing called Stone Tribe. And they would go in the studio and put out some good music, bro. He never stuck with it. But bro, I wish he would have. He's a good rapper. He's in county jail once. He sees a couple black dudes that he knows from the streets because he'd rap with them. They seen him at breakfast. They're like, oh, hey, what's up, dude? Hey, man. And he said he said he wanted to click his heels together like Alice in Wonderland. I'm not in Kansas no more. He wanted to disappear because all eyes on him. The new guy even, if you'd been there a while, you might be able to, I know those dudes from the streets. Dude, it's not a good look because they're looking for those dudes fresh in. They want to get those white Crips. Telling you know how many white boys I've seen beat up just shoving a dollar sign on them. When they first get there, first impressions is everything. So then my cousin Scrap Deal goes back to his barracks. And those 2 dudes come over, and they come to his barracks. They say, hey, you guys know a dude in there? Can you go get him, tell him to come out? And my cousin went out there to see him. Didn't even go out. You guys kick rocks. Hey, I'll see you guys on the job site later on when they were trying to mess with them. They're like, hey, don't you go get a swastika tattooed on you? So, homeboy, the racial divide is real. But you know what else? Do you know what else? What rule? I would never, ever want to break. You okay, Mandarin? Don't talk to cops. Major rule. And hey, homeboy, it's not too difficult for me to not do that because I just seen the outcome of people who did. Barely early on, I was schooled right. One of the first times in county jail, there was this porter. We'd be locked in the cells. Okay, the cops need inmates pass out breakfast and laundry. Fine. That's what this dude did for the cop. But when he was done passing things out, the cop wouldn't lock him up in the cell. He'd be out in the day room all day long, sweeping. Nothing needed to be swept. He'd be standing in front of the TV like this all the time. Cop would just let him out. He's always talking to the cop. Not only talking, but laughing with them. We're looking at ourselves like this and just see them in the corner. And bro, start getting people's attention. Like, dude, we're going to make you quit that job. You need to quit spending so much time with that cop. Yeah, it's my job. It's my job. Yeah. Well, finally, the homeboys, the Woods, came up on a bunch of weapon stock. And they had these big chairs in there, big square, like blue-gray chairs. They have a hole in the bottom. And they put the weapon stock in that hole. And they told him, that porter, because he would take all the chairs and everything and move them in the morning after breakfast so he could sweep and mop and just sweep and mop and sweep again and move the chairs. And as if he was doing something, they said, dude, don't mess with that chair. We don't want the stuff to fall out. We got something in there. Like, leave that chair alone when you're doing your beeswax. So the next day, that dude took that chair, isolated it, put it by itself way over under the TV in the corner by itself, and then took these chairs and moved them and cleaned them and just like had that one isolated. And everyone was tripping, dog. They go, oh my, what, why would he, like he told the cops, hey, the chair that I have over here on the TV is the one with the weapon stock. I mean, why? What for? And they couldn't wait for those doors to open up, and they snatched him and got him in there, and they said, what the, he's like, bro, I just put it aside, so I made sure, and bro, he didn't go to war no more. In fact, he had to stay in the cell for a couple of days because he looked like a raccoon, bro. They beat the brakes all the way off him. There's this other dude. Kept talking to this chick, guard. Kept talking to her. The homeboy said, dude, get off her leg. Quit talking to that guard all the time. She came on at night, and as soon as he'd come out from dinner, he'd go straight to the yard. No, he'd go straight back to the building and brush his teeth. We're like, all of a sudden, dude, you ain't been brushing your teeth. All of a sudden, you're going to brush your teeth? Oh, brush your teeth. Gotta talk to this guard. Finally, the homeboys said, dude, you can't talk to her no more. He's like, hey, I got action. She's going to bring me something. You have 1 week to get something from her. And if you don't have something in her pocket, in your hands, to show us in a week, Stuvo, you're not talking to her no more. So that week came up, he had nothing, couldn't talk to her, and he started pouting. Just sit on his bunk. If I can't talk to her, I won't talk to nobody. Dude, it was a bad look. It made him look like some peach poussey. You know what peach poussey is? This guy went to the restaurant. He looked on the menu. He's like, peach poussey? I'll try the peach poussey. And so this chick came and went like this. And the waiter had these peaches. And they put them inside of her. And then put the peaches on the plate. Put a peach inside of her. Put it on the plate. Put a peach inside of her. Put on the plate. And the guy's like, yuck, I'm not eating those peaches. You don't eat the peaches. You eat the poussey. Peach poussey, homeboy. This dude looked like some peach poussey, brother. While he was pouting over that chick. So finally, Rocky said, dude, I'm going to tell him it's all good. He can go talk to his homegirl if he wants, his girlfriend. But if he goes there and brushes his teeth before he goes outside, I'm going to slap the shit out of him. We're like, okay, let's see what happens. He's like, hey, dude. All right, it's all good. If you want to go talk to her, go ahead. We can see you're struggling. If that's what will make you happy, you got it. So, oh, really? Really? Ran over to start brushing his teeth, and bam! He got slapped, just like he said he would, and knocked him down, just like he said he would. And he still went outside and talked to that chick, just like we knew he would. And then we went out walking laps, like looking at him. He had a big red handprint. And he's like all talking to her, like laughing at a straight face. And bro, I wonder if she ever said, dude, you have a handprint on your face. Other than that, bro, I worked at Max Mead as a porter. Oftentimes, in addition to your regular job, which would be pass out the meals and pass out the laundry, something extra will come up, and maybe something got flooded, maybe there was a mess, whatever, and the cops come out and say, we need one porter, or the gate would open, you hear, one porter step out, and you might want to step out, you get an extra sack lunch, you're bored. They did that one night, one porter step out, no one really wanted to do it, I was like, I stepped out. It's not good to be alone with the cops, but I mean, what can you do, one porter step out. So I stepped out and it was someone's birthday party. They had a big old mess. They offered me some cake. I ate some cake. I went back to the cell. The block. I like frosting. So I cleaned up everything. They gave me some cake. Like I said, I had some on my face. I went back to the thing. Homeboys called me out. But they gave me all these pieces of chicken. And I put it in a bread bag. And I went like this. I did the dishes for them. And then I went back. And I was new as a porter and new in that block. And as soon as I got back with my chicken and with frosting on my face, homeboy's like, hey, dog, let me just get at you real quick. Because, be careful. Because what will happen, what we've seen happen before, the cops will call you out alone, say one porter, get you out there, try to get you to give up information on the homeboys, and if you do, they'll give you food. Break you off, I don't know, like chicken patties or something. And I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I just had me I didn't even do anything. Bro, I didn't want to be like, oh, I just had this chicken. I don't know what you mean, but I did get these chicken patties. Bro, it was the craziest thing, dog. know what I mean? Hey, but there's this time, Wasco C1. There's this cop, homeboys had her sewed up. It was a Fresno car, the Fresno Woods, and the skinheads kicked it. They're like 10 deep. They always kicked in this area. And this cop who worked, they had her on lock. She was bringing in tattoo guns. She'd bring tattoo inks and patterns. She'd bring in anything because she said herself was a skinhead. And so they'd be sitting in their group kicking it. She'd come and just stand there and talk to them for a long time. When I was kicking with them and she came walking up talking, I would just leave. I never would talk to her. I never stayed when they were talking and it started messing with their head. She'd start calling me out on it. Like, hey, how come you don't want to talk? How come when I come walking up, you leave? And I was like, oh, don't take it personal. No reason. But I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to be able to get nothing from her without stepping on toes. Whatever we got coming, there's already channels. I mean, she's going to bring it in. I end up getting a tattoo out of it. That's how I got this tattoo, C1. Because I got the gun from her and the ink and the needles and everything. But I messed with her head, dog. I had no conversation for her. Said, don't talk to cops. That's not a rule I break. More videos tomorrow. Like I said, I'm hitting it hard every single day. Represent Prison POV to the fullest. I'm asking for your like. Gracias. I'll thank you in advance. Shop at the merch store. I'm going to, as soon as I can, you're going to see me rocking some Prison POV merch. Shout to Dave 1503. It's fire merch. I love it. And homeboy, love you guys with all my heart. Because the string let her fly. Peace.